Hello everyone, it's Nanny Moo Moo and Papa Dunk, and today we are in the West Sussex village of Lurgashall. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Let me know if I haven't. Just taking a look around the village, it's quintessential English village. In front is a cricket green which hosts many cricket matches from May onwards, and various buildings such as the village hall and a pub called the Noah's Ark, which has some history behind it. In fact, all of Lurgashall has a great historical background. It's been inhabitants here since the Roman times, and just looking at it reminds me of the village in Brigadoon, which appears to strangers every 100 years. But I'm here to primarily visit St. Laurence Church, which in itself has the phases of history all the way back to the 11th century. So let's go and see what we can find. I'm starting my visit at the back of St. Lawrence's, taking in the wonderful vista before looking towards the entrance of the churchyard and getting a wonderful view of the tower with its pointed arch, a feature of Norman architecture. I'm not sure what this side door on the south side of the church was originally used for, but looking at the exterior, you can see that this church has some age to it. During my visit, there were several very friendly volunteers giving the churchyard a spring clean. You may hear some background noise of their efforts. Like many churchyards, St. Lawrence has many old trees. This yew was planted in 1821 by William Walden, who travelled in 1836 to Australia to settle, where he became a landowner, a magistrate, and running 2 horses at the first meeting at Flemington Racecourse in Melbourne. Taking a look at the north side of the church, you can see what a fabulous job the volunteers have made of the green spaces within the churchyard. The churchyard has some recent headstones, alongside some older headstones. Whatever the age of the headstones, I always take time to read the inscriptions and imagine what the lives of the people who have been remembered would have been like. This cloister on the south side of the nave was added in the 16th century as a place where parishioners coming some distance could rest and eat between morning and evening services. The front part of the porch was enclosed in 1622, when a license to teach was granted to the priest or reader. The present porch has a unique early 17th century narthex of timber extending along the low south wall of the church and abutting against the tower at the east. Near the south or christening door can be seen the remains of an early font, smashed by the Puritans. The church door on the south side of the church certainly has some age to it. I wonder how many people over the centuries have walked through this entrance. Here are some more of those wonderful trees, under which nestle some more headstones, lovingly cared for. There is certainly a sense of tranquility, with the spring sunshine dappling through the graveyard and the sound of birds providing the perfect soundscape. Lurgashall War Memorial was unveiled on the 27th of November 1921. It cost £280 and commemorates the 29 men and 1 woman of the village who fell in the First World War. Ellen Potter was a forewoman in the Queen Mary's Army Auxiliary Corps, having most likely joined the service in January 1918. The dates and 3 more names were added to the memorial after the Second World War. The turbulent years of Reformation and Civil War are reflected in the list of rectors. One such rector, Nehemiah Beaton, a Puritan nominee of Oliver Cromwell, was quickly outed during the Restoration years. Taking some time to look at this smaller area of the church, you will note some architectural features indicative of a church which has undergone centuries of restoration. In front of us is a fine example of a 20th century pulpit. Tucked behind is a brass lectern presented in 1897 in memory of the Victorian poet Alfred Tennyson, who regularly attended services at St. Laurence. It is thought that the first stone church, having replaced the wooden Saxon church on this site, was built in the 7th century. The chancel which we see today is thought to date back to the 13th century, having been rebuilt by Rector James Bramston in 1731. Looking back from the chancel to the nave, there is a distinct separation of space between the clergy and choir and the parishioners. Regardless, the wooden rood and organ are impressive features of the church. I'm guessing that these steps lead to the bell tower, where I believe there are 8 bells dating back to 1935. Back in the nave, there are several clues to its 11th century origin. Here is a section of herringbone masonry left exposed after stripping of the plaster. While this clock donated by John Wilding in 1999 is a grand feature of the church, it lays in front of a blocked 11th century doorway. This 17th century font is unusual inasmuch that it is square in shape. Made of Sussex marble, It was first used in 1662 on Lady Day, also known as the Feast of the Annunciation, when Charles II reintroduced the prayer book and baptisms to England. When we visit churches, we can sometimes be drawn to the more impressive features without taking time to seek out more subtle facets which can tell much about the history of a church. The inscription beneath this rood is one such example. Here are some brass plaques in memorial to various members of the Yolden family and their burial sites in Australia and other countries outside of England. Having come to England many years ago, with Australian ancestry dating back to the 1830s, I wonder what the inscription on my plaque might read. Looking back towards the main entrance of the church, you will see the Millennium window, designed by Philippa Martin. The light at the time of recording doesn't give the window justice. The panel on the left depicts aspects of village life, and on the right, the life and martyrdom of the patron saint, St. Laurence. A stained glass window, simple in its form, noting the architectural features in its surround. I was very much taken with the intricate carving on this chair and pedestal. The light streaming through the window added to the beauty. An old chest dating back to 1667. I'm not sure what the inscription says. If you know, let me know in the comments section. A last glance at the Millennium window. We've had a wonderful time here in Lurgashall, and particularly St. Laurence Church, which is absolutely fantastic. Very much well worth a visit. The locals are very friendly. One of them telling me that there is a fete here on the first Saturday in June, which attracts people from all over the place. So that would be probably well worth a visit if you're free on that first Saturday in June. But from Nanny Moo Moo and Papa Dunk, it's bye for now. It's bye for now.